Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Earthmaster out here on this Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 date, 8:29 a.m. That's California time here. Latest activity shows some movement here across the Philippines. 3.4 earthquake striking here, it looks like, along the Philippine Trench. Notice some larger earthquake activity upstream here. That's around the portion of the Nankai Trough once again. That's a location that's it's been put on a megaquake watch here last year from the Japanese government. They increased the likelihoods of seeing a megaquake out here on that subduction zone due to all the movement that was happening out here last year. Now we got some further activity on it at the extreme southern end here of the Nankai Trough. That's a subduction zone here that sits off the coast of Japan, with a 6.2 earthquake striking just over an hour ago in this location. So keeping an eye on this subduction zone right here, as we are coming up on a time frame interval where we could be seeing a megaquake. And most of the time when a megaquake happens across one of these segments, it can potentially trigger all of them or in sets. So I've covered this quite a bit in my previous videos. But for now, just a 6.2 here across the southern end. Obviously, we're looking at quite a bit of strain building along that subduction zone area. Some further movement down south here as well. This is from last night, 4.7 and a 5.0. Just goes to show you here, when you move around one piece of the puzzle, it does strain certain other areas here. And it's definitely looking likely that we'll see something pop here in the near term. We'll watch that pretty closely. Some further movement up here off the coast of Japan, eastern coast of Japan, at the Kamchatka from yesterday. But that's about the only newer one right now, that's 6.2. But definitely keeping an eye on that. Let's go ahead and check the west coast, see if anything's going on out here across California and the Pacific Northwest. Got the Seattle fault showing some activity today, it looks like, with a little small microquake in the last hour, a little 0.5, nothing big. That's a region that had some decent swarming out here in the last couple months. This fault system very capable of producing a mid-7 underneath the Seattle area. That would be quite damaging, and it's been quite a while. Lots and lots of time has passed since a big earthquake has struck on that fault system. So the accumulated slip rate, I'm sure, is quite high out here. A couple smaller quakes there across the Cascades. Nothing major going on there through the volcanoes, with the volcanoes there in the Cascades. Northern California, a couple smaller quakes out there today. Really nothing big. I believe most of these from yesterday. The only one after midnight, a 1.8. Not that big of a deal. Nevada's still seeing some activity. The San Francisco Bay region, a couple earthquakes here from yesterday. Nothing new to report there for today's activity. As we look at Southern California here, a handful of earthquakes across the Garlock Fault shear zone yesterday, near the Johannesburg area. These from yesterday as well. So it looks like Southern California in general, pretty quiet for now. Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up here on the map, but this is one of those areas we always need to double check the recorded seismographs, because earthquake activity comes in like that and it doesn't get reported. So Hebgen Lake, Maple Creek. Let's see here. It looks like the epicenter may be over here around the Hebgen Lake area. Talking about these earthquakes here in the last few hours or so. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. One up here. Got, let's see, is the USGS reporting any of those? One of them. Looks like they're reporting one. There was one there yesterday, a 1.8, but the morning events there, looks like they only picked out one earthquake at 3:48 in the morning. But as you can see here, it looks like they may have went with just one of these. What about this one? That one's bigger than all three of these. So that's got to be above a 2, because that earthquake is showing up at a more distant seismograph station there around Mary Lake. So out of all 4 of those earthquakes, that top one that didn't get reported is the largest. I'm assuming that's probably going to be a 2.1, 2.2. But why they picked a one earthquake out of the 3 here, I don't know. Either way, that's why I like to check these recorded graphs, because not all the earthquake information gets reviewed here. Maybe it does, and they just decide to pick one, say, hey, let's just call this, this is good. One earthquake being reported, but that's not the case. We've had a couple of them this morning, it looks like, across Yellowstone National Park. Nothing big, but again, it's earthquake activity, and I want to see transparency here. They need to include all those quakes if they're reviewing them. New Mexico out here, eastern New Mexico. It looks like it's around the Tucumcari area. Yeah, just outside of there. I was out here on 40 a couple weeks ago on a little adventure. A little 3.0, 3.1 miles deep there underneath this area. I know New Mexico here has quite a bit of gas and oil fields out there. I'm not specifically sure about this region here, but looks like something's out here. Maybe one lonesome person. One person that probably doesn't want to be disturbed out there. I can understand that. I don't see any gas fields out there, but yeah, a little bit of earthquake activity out there. Nothing big. Texas oil fields down here still getting hit outside of Pecos, although it looks pretty quiet there for now. This is last 24 hours. That looks a little quiet. I'm sure that will fill in. Normally we'll have, 10 earthquakes or so on any given day out here. This is the last 30 days, 290 earthquakes across the oil fields there in the Pecos, Texas area. Not a whole lot for the eastern portion of the country. Puerto Rico Trench starting to swarm down here a little bit more. I'll keep an eye on that. A lot of that from yesterday, though. Looks like one more after midnight at 3.4 in the mix further east along that trench zone. Big Island of Hawaii. Nothing major. One odd earthquake north here, a little three-pointer away from the Big Island. Could have something to do with the general strain and stress that is on top of the plate due to the weight here of the Hawaii Islands. And they're more than just what you see at the surface here. Obviously, they extend across the oceanic crust there, but this is just the part that's exposed above the sea level. So a lot of times that weight can have an effect there on the Pacific plate. There's that 6-pointer from yesterday, 6.3 in the Pacific Antarctica Ridge. A pretty decent sized earthquake. I don't believe, let me see here, let me check New Zealand. New Zealand, where'd you go? There you go. 3.4 from yesterday. No further activity here across this region. I was expecting a little bit of uptick here following this event yesterday, but so far I have yet to see anything kick up there across New Zealand. Most of the activity further up north there around the Nankai Trough. I don't know if that's a good sign. Myanmar area still seeing some earthquake activity, aftershock sequences, and some movement around the Mediterranean. Nothing big. Getting some activity out in the mid-Atlantic ridge again. It's been quite active out there. 5.2 earthquake striking in this area where we've seen, we've had a hot spot of earthquake activity here recently. Seems like all these bigger earthquakes, the 7-pointers and some of the 6-pointers, followed this movement out here in the mid-Atlantic ridge. It almost seems like it kicked off a domino effect here of larger earthquake activity across the globe. So today we're seeing a little bit more movement, and that was at 6:24 in the morning local time, that earthquake. About half an hour later, we've seen that 6.2 there in Japan. Mid-Atlantic ridge obviously is spreading seafloor center over time, and it does add strain out here. This is almost a starting point, so to speak, of getting the plates moving out there. Let me show you guys here on the map real quick. We got the Atlantic Rift boundary out here, spreading seafloor center. Of course, Iceland included. It could be why we're seeing a lot of activity up there right now. Notice the arrows all separating. And when that happens, we set the plates into motion out there to the west and also to the east of this general rift boundary. And I think we'll see some further activity today following that newer movement. I mean, we've already seen it. We've already had it, I should say, here across the Japan area. But I think we'll see a little bit more following that event today. Iceland, definitely seen some activity out here. Most of this from yesterday. I did check the earthquake map here across Iceland. Got, looks like 203 earthquakes in the last 2 hours. We're still noticing an increasing, elevated earthquake sequence here across Iceland with really no major depletion of magma from below. Magma's on the move. Let me show you guys here real quick if they've updated anything. This is put out from yesterday. Their latest information here is that the magma dike, which is underneath the area, is still moving off to the north. Now, yesterday here, Grindavik area, this is the town here of Grindavik. This is the fissure here that opened up. Well, there was another one that popped open here within the barrier, I believe. And I'm not for sure how many barriers are out here, but it was within Grindavik and the protective barrier here. But that has since died off. Let me show you guys a live view here of Iceland. This is from fireiniceland.com. The fissure event was roughly about here within the protective barrier. There's Grindavik over there to the right. I don't see anything there right now. I see a little bit of smoke, volcanic gases there. I don't think we're out of the works yet in terms of seeing some further activity there. I know they're talking about most of the intrusion going on northward, but there's still obviously a lot of activity south of Grindavik, a lot of earthquake activity. That's a sign that there's some things taking place down below. Their update here, the fissure continues to grow and it cannot be ruled out that it may continue to open further south. This was yesterday at 10, and it did open a little bit further south there within the barrier. So magma intrusion headed off to the north, and we can pretty much follow it there with the earthquake activity. Here's Grindavik. Not a whole lot happening right now underneath it, but there is magma on the move, moving off here further to the north. Much further north than what we've seen here recently, and much further south. So a lot going on here across this rift boundary, allowing the amplification of movement, magma movement, and probably some further upswelling of the magma from below. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Nothing here being reported today. Let me see here. Yeah, this is from yesterday. So we'll continue to watch that. Space weather activity. I'm not for sure what happened with the sun there. A little bit of a blackout being observed. Watching sunspot 4048 and 4046. I think the main culprit right now to watch for some stronger flaring is going to be 4048 here. Let's take a look at the magnetogram image today, which is it's a pretty nice sunspot. Look at that. Still looking fairly complex, holding steady. This one up north here, not so much. It looks like that's starting to die off, this region right here. So we'll keep our eyes there on 4048. That's got a decent chance for some X-flare continuation there. Continuation of X-flare potential. 25% chance there for X-flare. M-flare at 75. Still seeing some protons there kick up. Surprisingly, 60%. And, of course, that's visible there on the global delayer absorption map. That's the Earth right now getting bombarded continual by the proton events out here. Nothing major in the Aurora forecast. It looks like maybe a G1 class storm here around April 4th UTC time, but we'll check back on that. I don't think there's a whole lot of activity stirring up there right now. Looks like Kevin's back in full swing on his website. That's good. Good to have you back there, Kevin. I do appreciate the website. There's many space weather websites that are available to, you and me, but I prefer to use, and it's a simple layout, is solarham.com. Pretty crazy, but it's just something I've been using for quite a while. Look at that sunspot. Massive area. 4048. Okay, let's check out weather activity out here today real quick. Wow, not often do you see this. I don't know if you want to see this. Get rid of these interstates and counties. Okay, there we go. A little bit better view here. We got the maximum potential here for severe weather today. The highest it goes here on the categorical outlook legend. Hearing words about tornado outbreak today, so just be on guard. High risk area, 2,681,000 people. Memphis, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and so on. Basically, though, if you're anywhere within this green zone, included the yellow, orange, red, and now high risk category, be weather aware today. We got a huge threat for some tornado activity. Not too often do you see that. 30% chance here of seeing an EF2 to an EF5. That's a big deal. Wind and some big time hail threats as well. So just be on guard out there today, folks. That's not something to mess around with. It's a work week, right? Kids at school, work. Make sure you have some type of weather plan in place just in case things get a little on the interesting side there today. I think it will. Looks like, look at this. They got that summary. A tornado outbreak is expected today and tonight. So this could go well into the night as well. Tornadoes, right? Multiple EF3 plus tornadoes appear to be likely. That's a big deal, folks. So if you're out there, please be on guard. Stay weather aware. A lot of times it doesn't happen, right? I think yesterday, seen a lot of the storm chasers out there calling yesterday a bust. That basically means that the conditions did not happen the way they were forecasted. Let's see what we had for yesterday. But it came in a little bit later. Had 8 reports of some tornado activity, Oklahoma and Kansas, up around the Salina area. And some hail and wind reports. So, I don't like to call any day a bust because that's good news there for the folks that live out there that it didn't happen the way that it was forecast. They were expecting some big-time tornadoes out here as well. 8 reports of tornadoes. Most of them, I believe, were pretty small. Roof damage, roof partially blown off there in Tulsa. Tornadic debris signature visible on radar. A good thing it didn't play out like they were forecasting, but today could be a different story, folks, so just be on guard. Far as any close approach asteroids go, the next 5 close approach asteroids here, we'll take a look at that and see what we got. 20-foot, a 20-foot bus-sized asteroid coming in 52,000 miles today. That's pretty darn close. That's actually really close. Well within the Earth-Moon distance there. But a 20-footer, 20-footer would probably be a decent-sized fireball in the sky, newly discovered. So, but that's, still at a distance. Early last year, we had one come within about 12,000 miles of us. I think it was about a 14-foot size asteroid. And that missed us. I didn't see any reports of anything when that flew by. So a lot of times, though, these asteroids there, depending on their incoming path, could get pulled in. But even if something like that did happen, a 20-foot would not do all that big of a damage there. Just probably make a fairly decent fireball in the sky. Ooh, 140-foot size. This here is fairly close for that size. That's newly discovered as well. 450,000 miles for a 140-foot asteroid. But that's still, it looks like it's just outside the Earth-Moon distance there. Average distance for the moon, about 239,000 miles for the Earth and the moon. Aside from that, folks, we'll keep an eye here, like I mentioned, on the Nankai Trough zone. That's if we were to go back and look at all the earthquakes that have been happening here across the Nankai Trough in the last year, a lot of deeper ones in this area, obviously adding strain here across the subduction zone, and a lot of activity specifically in this region down here. So it's building, and this one here, the last time it ruptured was back in 1944 with, I believe it was the first 4 areas here that ruptured, that's seen an earthquake, pretty decent one, and left out segment I believe it was segment E here, which is closer to the east along the plate boundary. So potential's there. The likelihood of seeing a larger earthquake out here on the subduction zone has been amplified here over the last, today and also over the last, 7, 8 months or so. So we'll watch that. That could be very well our next area for a megaquake in terms of 8.0 and above. We're still waiting for an 8-pointer. Our last one was out here, back in 2021. And on average, we should see at least one 8-pointer or up each year. Here we are 4 years past. So just be on guard. We'll see you guys out here a little bit later on, folks. Enjoy your Wednesday. Friday is right around the corner. Stay weather aware if you're out there in the severe weather zone today. Have a good one.